Hello everyone, my name is TaxOwlbear and welcome back to the Lovecraftian game retrospective and welcome to Prisoner of Ice. Prisoner of Ice is another point-and-click adventure, this time with better graphics and a slightly more modern interface, and it's a sequel to the Shadow of the Comet. And just like Shadow of the Comet is based on the Shadow over Innsmouth, this game is based on At the Mountains of Madness. You wouldn't really know that though, because this game doesn't really tell you it's a sequel to Shadow of the Comet. It's not even called Call of Cthulhu Prisoner of Ice. It is now in the re-release, but originally that wasn't on the box, it's not in the manual, and it's not really inside the game unless you play through the entire game and actually meet characters from the first game. But it's not really all that important, so you take the role of Lieutenant Ryan in this game and you're an US intelligence officer. And your objective is to recover a Norwegian scientist from a secret Nazi base in the Arctic and find out what's behind that expedition and that secret Nazi base. So this game takes place in the 1930s. It's a little bit like Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, but that's not actually a bad thing because Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis is one of the best adventure games ever made. So yeah, there's nothing really to complain about that in that regard. From a technical point of view, this game is pretty good. The controls are very easy, the graphics look nice, the characters are 3D rendered or of sorts. They don't really look all that great today, but they were pretty good for the days. I actually prefer the DOS version of this game though, which has pixelated characters, but I think those look actually better and more charming these days, but that's really up to you, get whatever version you want to have. What's not so good is the story. It's pretty solid, and it takes you around the globe to a lot of places like the Falkland Islands, Buenos Aires, the Arctic, and even a couple of more exotic places I'm not going to spoil for you. But it's also more linear due to that part, and it's full of cliches. Even for a video game, it does have a lot of cliches, and there are very few surprises, and the surprises you get, they're more or less thrown into your face, just like the Lovecraftian elements, and it's not really all that mysterious. It feels more random than mysterious. What's also not so good is the voice acting. There are at least 3 voice acted versions of this game, so actually 4. There's a French and a German version, and there's also 2 English language versions, both of which are not very good. Most of the voice actors are, from what I can hear, Americans, including all the soldiers on the British Falklands base, and a few of them actually don't even pretend to imitate anyone's accent. So the American characters sound American, obviously the British characters sound straight American pretty much, and the Hispanic characters, like the Argentinians, they are downright insulting. They all sound like complete idiots, they sound very cliche, and to be honest, I wouldn't say it ruins the games, but that's definitely downgrades the game in my opinion, because their voice acting is really bad, and that's also true for a bunch of other characters, but I'm not going to go into too much detail here again, don't want to spoil it for you. Yeah, so don't expect any great voice acting in this game, unfortunately. But if you really can't stand it, you can even turn it off, so there's that option. As I already said, from a technical point of view, this game is pretty solid. It's not too difficult, I would actually say it's easier than Shadow of the Comet, and you shouldn't have too much trouble with it. What you might have trouble with are the QuickTime events. Well, not really QuickTime events, it's more a sequence where you have to do a couple of things in very short order, or your character will get killed. You could actually see one of those very early sequences. And in that sequence I had to get around that prisoner. That's one of the Cthulhu monsters you meet at the very beginning of the game. And the problem is that your character always has the same walking speed. You can't really run. He has an adventure game character walking speed, which isn't really a problem if the game doesn't force you to do things quickly. But if it expects you to do things quickly, that really gets annoying, especially because in a lot of sequences you get killed after a couple of seconds and then you just have to reload, then you have to retry it again, but you barely have any time to assess the situation or think about what you're supposed to do. Instead, you just get killed over and over and over again. It's not even that these sequences are so difficult, it's really more annoying. But overall, I would still recommend this game if you like adventure games and if you like Lovecraftian games. If you're not too much into either of those, probably play Shadow of the Comet instead, or at least play Shadow of the Comet first. So yeah, and that's pretty much all I have to say about this game. It's still available, so you can get it digitally, and you can also get copies of this game cheap if you prefer to have one of the original hard copies of this game. So yeah, and that's pretty much all I have to say. So thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time. Take care and goodbye.